they basically had like a couple of year stint. It is reckless, I'm not being silly. So I had to jump on it. That's gonna fuck with you long term. Like, get distracted like I normally do. It is really serious. You're better off waiting and doing a planche tomorrow. Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting with the More Than Lifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, bodyweight training, gymnastics, all that good stuff. I'm Rhys, personal trainer from the UK and founder of More Than Lifting, and in this episode we're going to talk about what to do when shit hits the fan, okay? Because stuff doesn't always go to plan, and lots of things can go wrong, whether it's just in a workout, it can be scheduling, it can be what you've got, tools and equipment you've got available to you, it can be your mood, it can be injuries, all kinds of things can affect your training in a big way. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because it's quite fitting this last week. First off, sorry I didn't get the last episode out to you on Thursday, guys. I've had an absolute nightmare over the last couple of days, because my website got hacked. So, mate, that was a fucking pain in the ass. Got a nice email from Google Webmasters saying, oh shit, we've just noticed that your website has just been hacked. And so I had to jump on it, and I basically had to spend lots of time dealing with the repercussions of that, and everything's fixed now. I'm just waiting for a review from Google, and it doesn't affect the main part of the site. It only affects the HTTP protocol, I think that's what it's called anyway. So basically, if you go on the site, you're not going to be affected. And because I don't actually store any of your data on the site or anything like that, you don't have anything to worry about, which is good news. So anyway, I've updated firewall and an expensive cyber security bill later. Everything's all good, but that amongst a slight change in scheduling from me and just what I do on a day-to-day basis has meant that I haven't got around to getting that out to you. And so sorry about that, won't happen again. And yeah, so it's very fitting, obviously, because that's out of my control. I didn't choose to get hacked, and I didn't choose to get a slap with a bill like that to have to deal with it. So when stuff like this happens, I think back to my old mate Marcus Aurelius. And if you don't know about Marcus Aurelius, he was like an old emperor of Rome, one of the last ones, and they basically had like a couple of year stint at the end, towards the end of the empire, when he was just basically at war, I think, and I'm pretty sure. Anyway, he wrote a couple of volumes called Meditations on Stoic philosophy and his kind of experiences, and unloading his kind of life lessons into these books. And well, this one book, Meditations, is all of these little his little journals and stuff all compiled together, and it's absolutely amazing. It's quite difficult to read because of how language has changed, but it's really insightful. And he says something that really kind of sticks by me when shit like this happens. Like, it's not up to you. And it's the truth. It's not up to you. Stuff goes wrong, and you don't choose for stuff to go wrong, but it's happened. It's out of your control. 90% of whatever is out of your control, so you got to just roll with the punches to an extent. And what that means is you need to stay adaptable. So you need to be able to deal with stuff that goes wrong or not according to your plan, because that's not the plan that nature and the world and everybody else has. It's just your one. So you need to be adaptable in that sense. And this comes down to your workouts in the same way, because if you don't have a particular piece of equipment to you, available to you, or if you're in a different training environment for whatever reason, maybe on holiday, maybe you're at your mate's house training or whatever, and they don't have some things that you're used to, then you need to be able to adapt your training, your workouts to fit that environment. Okay, and it doesn't just come to equipment. Okay, it also comes to your sense of self. If you're feeling a bit injured, if your shoulder's a bit tight, if you've had problems with your wrists because you've been overtraining your planche a little bit, or you've been working that mobility and you're really struggling, or you've been training a lot and your legs are sore today, or stuff like that, all right, you need to listen to. Okay, you need to listen to your body, and you need to be able to adapt to how your body is feeling. If you just ignore stuff that's going on, then you risk injury. You risk hurting yourself, and that's not just going to mess with one workout, that's going to fuck with you long term. Okay, and no one wants injuries. You don't want to get injured, or you might for some stupid reason, but trust me, long term you do not want to get injured, because ultimately we're all deteriorating. I know, a little bit nihilistic of me to say, but the truth is, like, you got to look after your body, because it's the only one you got, and you know, you can't really replace a lot of stuff. I mean, that's the truth of it. If you do serious shoulder damage to yourself, you are in big trouble. All right, if you do the same with your hips, your knees, I know I snapped my ACL. Okay, I know what kind of problems that can cause for people, because I have suffered with them at various stages through kind of my teenage and adult life so far anyway. I mean, I'm not that old, but yeah. So the point is, you've got to look after yourself. You've got to be able to listen to what's going on a day-to-day basis and make adjustments according to that, okay? It doesn't matter how bad you want to be able to learn a particular skill. If you're overtraining a part, if your wrists are really taking a beating, I keep saying wrists because wrists are quite likely ones that you will do some damage to, because your wrists don't get, your forearms, I mean, they just don't compare to what kind of strength a lot of these skills need. People's forearms just aren't capable of that kind of stuff. Mobility is an issue for a lot of people, and the same with a strength in your wrists. When people first get into calisthenics and stuff, they're not used to hanging from a bar for 10 minutes, you know, or over the course of 25 minutes. So it puts a lot of stress on your hands and your wrists, and other elements of your training as well, things like your straight arm strength, which we're going to talk about in the next couple of episodes. We've got a load of calisthenics principles coming up, and that are really important key elements of your training. We'll go into them soon anyway. I'm not going to get distracted like I normally do, but with your locked arm strength, your elbows will start to hurt in your joints. When you start overtraining, if you start working too hard or too much, it's the frequency as much as it is the difficulty of the exercise. Your tendons, your ligaments, your joints, your muscles, your bone, everything takes a beating, okay? And with your locked arm strength especially, those elbows, like, they don't get worked like that in normal life. So you need to get used to it. You need to build up slowly. And if your elbows are hurting, man, you don't do any levers that day. Like, especially not ones that you're resting on your arms for. Front lever maybe you could do, but even then, like, the amount of stress that it puts on your arms, I would discourage you. I'd encourage you not to do it. And yeah, because for the sake of one session or 3 days of recovery, like, rather than a year, 3 years, the rest of your life with a serious injury, is it worth it? Does that balance? Does the risk balance there? No. If you're hurting, rest. Okay, and that doesn't mean don't have a workout. You can still do legs if your elbows are hurting, right? You can still do HIIT training if your elbows are hurting. You can do push-ups, you can do handstands. But what I wouldn't let you do is planche training, definitely. And to be honest with you, I'd probably just encourage you to do some mobility work and then kind of chill out for a day, you know, or two, to help your body to recover, because it takes time. And it doesn't matter where your mind is at. If your body can't keep up with that, then you will hurt yourself, because you'll push yourself too hard, too fast, and it is reckless, right? It is reckless. I'm not being silly. It is reckless doing stuff like that. Because why would you hurt yourself? You know, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you put yourself in that kind of position? Like, yes, okay, sometimes you really want a planche, or you've really been working to something, you're like, oh, I'll just give it one more. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit shit, but I'll give it one more. And you know, times like that is fine. It's good to build that kind of grit, but you need to listen to your body. If you feel like something is going to go wrong, if something feels likely, if you've been putting a lot of stress on your elbows and they're feeling sore, maybe doing that last planche isn't worth it. Yeah, because you can do it tomorrow. You can do a planche tomorrow if you don't do one now. If you do one now and you hurt yourself, you can't do any planches tomorrow. So you've got to weigh that risk up for yourself, because it really comes down to an individual basis, how strong you are, how capable you are, and how hard you've been pushing. But you need to be able to adapt in those situations, because otherwise you do run the risk of hurting yourself, and there's no need to do that. All right, guys, it is just a short one today. I'm afraid. So I'm not going to be rambling for 20 minutes like I usually do. 10 minutes on the dot. Guys, look after yourself. As always, if you like what you heard, give us a like, subscribe, share us with your mates. But the most important thing, listen to your body. And if you need to adapt your workouts, think of ways that you can balance those movement patterns, whether it's just do push-ups instead of dips or do rows instead of pulls or something like that. Find a similar movement pattern or exercise that can help push those exercises too. All right. Yeah, guys, like I say, it's not always up to you. Don't overtrain. It's not worth the risk of hurting yourself, injuring yourself and putting you out of training long term. You're better off waiting and doing a planche tomorrow than doing a planche today and hurting yourself, all right? So it is really serious, and when shit hits the fan, you need to be able to go, right, I need to make a smart decision here rather than do what I want just because I'm in the zone, all right? Having said that, always push yourself, and I'll catch you in the next episode, guys. Keep in touch with yourself, follow me at More Than Lifting everywhere, and yeah, I'll speak to you soon.